Now, Barack Obama has been speaking publicly again this week. Some of the things he's saying now sits next to older clips in ways that make the contrast pretty hard to ignore. We're going to look at a few of those moments side by side. So let's start here.
And I think sometimes we get confused in thinking that these two stories are completely separate. They're intertwined.
Yeah.
Right? And which is why it's possible for me to be a great admirer of George Washington and also acknowledge he was a slaveholder. Mm-hmm. And that does not negate his greatness. It simply acknowledges that there's a profound, deep flaw in these founding fathers who were also geniuses and gave us these tools. And which is true of all of us, right? It's true of every president. It's that we're this mixed bag. We got contradictions, and embody the country's contradictions. Now
he's actually making a fair point. A man can be genuinely great and still carry serious flaws, and you don't have to erase one to acknowledge the other. The interesting part is how easily the standard gets offered to some historical figures and withheld from others depending on which story needs protecting right now. Yeah. It's a mature way to look at history when it's convenient. Now I want you to watch how he applies a different kind of standard when a person across from him is someone he just don't like.
I believe in face-to-face. I believe in conversation. Mm-hmm. So if this whoever you were talking about was in front of me, which has happened a couple times. He don't talk like that because he knows better. I think there is that filter of the phone creates a situation both where people just say any kind of crazy stuff that they would never say
with no consequences
to your face with no consequences.
Obama, shut up. Shut up, because you do the same thing. That's what politicians do. You all talk on television about one another when you're not next to one another, but as soon as you next to each other, it's a different story. So stop the shenanigans. Stop trying to act like you tough. What's the consequence? I'm going to be honest. What is the consequence? Since you over there being a hard ass, what would be the consequence if Donald Trump said half the stuff he say about you in front of your face? What are you going to do? What is your 120-pound ass going to do? Please enlighten us. You know, I can't stand guys like this, man. Oh, yeah, you better not say nothing. Or what? Or what? Trump said some of the most craziest stuff about you, and mind you, is all true. But then at the funeral, you was laughing and smiling and shaking his hand and saying all type of stuff and looking like you all are best friends. So what? This is what I don't get. These people, these politicians, they say something. These Democrat politicians, they say something that is completely opposite of what they were caught on camera doing years before. You're on camera, bro. You are on camera. So for you to sit there and say, oh, well, Trump don't say, he know not to say nothing. He know not to say nothing about. Trump has been saying shit about you for the last, 7 years? 7 years? You all was just sitting there at what funeral was that? I forget what funeral that was. Laughing, smiling, right? Handshaking, right? In front of Kamala Harris, right? And this is after you was essentially calling him damn near the most, heinous person in the world. So what are you talking about?
Ooh, that shot, man. Now, he's saying real strength and honesty shows up in person, Obama it is, not through distance and filtered comments. He's positioning himself as someone who values direct engagement, right? The quiet part is that this standard only seems to apply when he's the one being challenged. When the dynamic flips, distance suddenly becomes wisdom instead of avoidance. Here's how they kind of frame and lens when somebody else is watching it without the filter.
Would you look at Barack Obama finally embracing who he is? A street thug.
I believe in face-to-face. I believe in conversation. So if this, whoever you were talking about was in front of me, which has happened a couple times, he don't talk like that because he knows better. I think there is that filter of the phone creates a situation both where people just say kind of crazy stuff that they would never say
no consequences
to your face with no consequences.
Why would anybody with any common sense say anything to your face? So you could chimp out and stab him in the heart like Carmelo Anthony? y'all so emotionally fragile. We seen enough. Nobody's gonna say nothing to y'all no more. I'ma say it from a distance. You got a problem, you come and find me. Y'all don't fight. Y'all want to kill people. Hey, I don't care who you think killed Charlie Kirk. Just know it was a liberal. You see, the difference is we actually like living. We like our families. We want to raise our kids. Y'all have no problem crashing out over words. Y'all die, go to jail so quick, fast over a conversation. Now, see, it's not soft to avoid a pack of wild gorillas. It's actually smart. What's soft is killing somebody because it hurt your feelings. Control your fragile, emotional, unstable behavior and somebody might say something to your face.
I say whatever I like. I'll go wherever I like. I don't care.
Now, the reaction catches something real. It's much easier to talk about facing someone when you control whether that face-to-face moment ever actually happens. Some people develop a real preference for conflict that stays at a safe, manageable distance where they can issue the challenge but never have to absorb the immediate reply. But there are people who knew him. Oh, hold on. Got to get it right. There are people that knew him before the permanent public performance began.
Now it's to the point where I do not like them. I think of them as bad people.
I don't like them either. I have to tell you that. I liked them very much. I had, many social endeavors with him. He invited me to the White House over and over again, including to the Medal of Honor for Shimon Peres, a dear friend of mine who was the Prime Minister of Israel. But I don't like them as people. I remember Michelle Robinson when she was a student, and she was very radical. Obama was not. I mean, he was known as a kind of middle-of-the-roader when he was at Harvard Law School. And I think during the beginning of his first term, he was a little bit more of that. But once he was reelected, you're absolutely right. He became, his true self came out. He's not a nice person. He's not a nice person. He's a smart person. He's very smart, but he's not a nice person.
Now it's to the point where I do not like.
I don't know how you say his last name, but I'll say Alan D. Isn't reading tea leaves from the outside. I want y'all to keep that in mind. He sat in rooms with both of them, the Obamas. When the stakes were lower and the cameras weren't consistent. He's describing a noticeable shift that happened once re-election removed the need to keep certain parts of himself in check. Now, that kind of observation from someone who had access, it undercuts the idea that the polished public version or persona was always the complete one. Now, this next clip shows what earlier version of leadership actually put into motion when it had the power to do it.
On May the 6th of 2016, President Obama sent a letter to every school district in the United States. And President Obama said, every child has a right to use the bathroom of the gender that they identify with. And President Obama threatened the state departments of education. If you don't let transgender children use the bathroom of the gender they identify with, we will cut your funding. We will cut your money. We will cut your grants. And so Barack Obama, more than any other politician in the world, fed the transgender movement.
Now, in 2016, the administration sent the letter to every single school district in the country, and it told them exactly how to handle bathrooms and facilities. And it made clear that federal funding could be pulled if they resisted. That wasn't gentle guidance right there, y'all. It was power being used to reshape something deeply local and personal fast. The mechanism was simple. Comply or lose the money. When the same person who used that kind of leverage starts talking about character and consistency, even people who used to defend him start noticing that gap.
I don't even know what he means by this.
He's saying Trump got Twitter fingers.
But when he says that he would never say this to my face, what would the consequences be if Donald Trump does?
I mean, he's kind of calling him pussy. He's saying you don't keep the same energy. Like,
but he's doing the same thing that he's accusing Donald Trump of.
But he never talks about Trump.
I agree.
President Obama don't keep the same energy with Trump. Here's my point. We watched them play footsie at President Carter's funeral. That's what politicians do. They talk shit about each other, right? But then when they see each other face to face, you don't ever see none of that. The only time you ever remotely see politicians go at it with each other is when they're on the debate stage. Other than that, when they're in the settings like this, it's kumbaya. Like they was literally laughing and giggling and having a good kiki at President Carter's funeral. This is after Donald Trump done said wild shit about President Obama over the years. Wild shit that that had his life threatened, had his family's life threatened. You didn't keep that same energy. You know who kept that same energy? The First Lady, Michelle, because she was like, fuck it, I ain't going. I'm not going to a former president's funeral because I don't fuck with him. Now, we don't know if that's really the case, but that's what it seems like, okay? They didn't even invite Donald Trump to the opening of the Obama Center because Michelle probably said, I'm not coming if he's going to be there, drawing a definitive line in the sand. So it's just like, I don't even know what Obama, maybe because he in front of Matt and Steve, and he know that they enforcers, so he trying to talk tough and it's on all the smoke. I didn't understand what was that. What was that?
I didn't like that energy, I got to be honest.
What was it?
Don't play footsie with them.
Yes.
Don't keep up appearances. Don't act now like you're going to do something, you know, like.
It doesn't make any sense. To me, as just a person on the outside looking in, I'm like, man, all of y'all politicians be full of it. Because
they are, though.
But we know that, so don't act like it's something. Don't act tough here, because I can look at Barack Obama and say, guess what, Mr. President? You do the same thing in his presence, too. You know another reason I don't like it? Because think about what it does to us as a society. It riles us up.
Oh, yeah.
It makes everybody choose sides. And, like, there's actual violence that happens between people on the left, people on the right, because of what they're doing here, but then they're sitting around having a beer together, kikiing at a funeral.
Yeah.
So it's like, even with that, don't talk like that now. Other thing I was thinking about, too, when you talk about if Trump says something to you and you say something to Trump, there's going to be consequences. What are the consequences? Donald Trump could really have you locked up if he wanted to.
Charlamagne is saying tough posture doesn't always survive actual proximity. He's pointing out that politicians often perform strength until the moment requires them to demonstrate it without a buffer. You know, the fact that this observation is coming from the inside, you know, of the circle that usually protects Obama is, you know, that makes it harder to wave away, you know, as just another partisan attack. Now, what runs through every one of these clips is the difference between performance and record. When Obama talks about history, he can hold space for a man's greatness while acknowledging his flaws. You know, that version of him sounds thoughtful and balanced, you know, but when he talks about confrontation, he presents direct face-to-face engagement as the honest standard. But, big but, only when he's the one setting the terms. That version sounds confident from a distance. Then you see the version that actually held power in 2016. He used a single letter, you know, to sit there and threat cutting federal money to change how every school district in the country handled bathrooms. That wasn't discussion. That was enforcement. And when someone who has spent years defending him publicly starts pointing out the gap between the tough talk and actual behavior, it becomes harder to file everything under simple disagreement. You know, the through line isn't complicated. People reveal different versions of themselves depending on whether they're explaining the past or issuing a challenge or using power, you know, in the present. The question the clips quietly raised is which version reflects the real priorities when the cameras are off and the decisions are actually being made. People can decide for themselves what that means, but the record, doesn't bend to whichever version is the most useful at the moment. So which one of these moments stood out to y'all the most? And we're going to leave here with Luke 12:2-3. For there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be known or brought out into the open. Y'all be safe. Go check on somebody today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.